Good morning. How you doing out there? Welcome to the Tom McManus Webcast right here at SuckItUPUSA.com. It is Tuesday, December 4th. We call it a Suck It Up Tuesday because it is a work day. It's a grind day, getting after those goals, after those dreams. So all the best to you. Make sure you get the workout in. I always believe in that. That'll make you get it through. Without question, I'm here with my good friend, Mr. Bob Goin, former athletic director at Florida State University and at University of Cincinnati, current Harris Bowl contributor, touchdown receptor in the annual Thanksgiving Day game, a great guy, and great to have you back on the webcast, Bob.
It's always nice to visit with you, Tom. This is exciting, and this new website stuff's interesting.
Isn't it great? Yeah.
I find it interesting. I hope people plug in and listen to you. You have such a great message.
Well, you know, and you got a good look. I mean, look at you. You get to look at yourself on TV every Tuesday.
I'm actually looking at the trees. They look better than I do.
The trees are beautiful. Nice. It is beautiful out
beautiful here.
Yeah.
In Ponte Vedra. So
great time of the year for our weather. Great time of the year in college football. The SEC championship game. We'll start with that. Alabama, Georgia. I don't think many people gave Georgia much of a chance, but they hung in there all the way down to the wire. Yeah. Obviously, Alabama, their running attack of that young kid Yeldon and number 42 Lacey, they get after it. Big up front, very exciting to watch. But credit Georgia, what a great day they had up there in Atlanta.
That's great football. We said a long time ago that half of the national championship game would come from the SEC, and both of those teams could have represented well. Alabama certainly did. It came down to a couple plays, as you know, but a long touchdown pass that they got, against Georgia. It was just it's terrific football, and you could see the difference. I watched a lot of football this year.
Yeah, you did.
And you could see the difference in those two teams and how physical they are, how well drilled they are, the kind of skill they have. It's just pretty awesome college football.
Yeah, it really is. And again, what a great outing it was, a great game. Obviously, a lot of people have questions at the end of the game. Coming from an athletic director's standpoint, would you, after that game, if you were Georgia's AD, go to Mark Richt and just, maybe a little whisper, hey, why didn't we clock it at the end there? Why didn't we stop the clock? Would you say that as an AD, or would you say, you know what? He did what he thought was best. There is an argument, hey, we got momentum. Maybe we catch them off guard. Obviously, the tip pass didn't help them and their cause. But how do you look at that end of the game from an athletic director's standpoint?
I would never question
you wouldn't
that.
say anything.
I've been in that sport too long to know that they were hot. They were moving the ball down the field.
They were.
They might have thought that they put a formation out there to caught them off balance.
Right.
And to do it. And it's unfortunate for Georgia, but the whole game was so great. No, I would never have said anything to Mark Richt after a performance like that.
Yeah, it was.
So when you do have the greatest offensive line in college football running the way they ran, and Georgia found a way to stay with that.
Yeah.
And to counter it.
Right.
So I'd have been thrilled for them. Sad that they lost as their athletic director. Proud of the way they played.
Yeah, absolutely. I tell you, and that last play, if the ball's not tipped, he's going for the guy down the sideline in the end zone. It was a classic. Number 2 go out, number 1 go down the field. Hopefully, whoever's covering 1 takes a step towards number 2. You got a guy open. It doesn't work when the ball gets tipped at the line of scrimmage. A game of inches, as we all know.
But
a great year for Georgia, a great year for Alabama. Hey, the way the system is set up, number 1, number 2, it's Notre Dame, it's Bama. They deserve to be in the national championship game based on how this system is today. Agreed?
It's going to be a great national championship game.
I believe so.
Something to look forward to.
Yeah.
That's going to be super. It's going to get great national appeal. Notre Dame brings great national appeal. So does Alabama.
Jeez, you're kidding me.
Either you like them or you don't, but they bring that appeal. The rankings and ratings for television are terrific.
Absolutely. When you look at Notre Dame and Alabama's history, that alone is unbelievable.
Pretty strong.
Let me ask you real quick, Bob. Who out of the 2 schools, the programs, who's had the best coaches overall over their time?
Wow.
That was a tough one.
That is.
I mean, obviously Alabama having a ton of success, Bear Bryant, and recently with Nick Saban, you can go back to the glory days of Notre Dame. Go back to Lou Holtz when they won the title in '88.
Era.
Yeah, I met Era.
Yeah.
Did I ever tell you that? I met him in Marco Island. Incredible man.
He was one of my mentors. Watching him and everything he said or everything he did, I would jot it down and try to put it in my use as a little Division III coach. Watered it down, but he was a good. They've had great. It's hard to. There it is. There are two story programs that are just terrific, and it's nice that they're meeting again.
Yeah,
Notre Dame's back up, and Alabama's back up, and they've been back up, and it's just a terrific game.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Too bad it's 50 days away. I can't stand that.
I don't know how you practice for it.
No kidding. Yeah, I mean, how much break do you take? How much time off? How much do you work? That'd be difficult.
That's the key to it.
Yeah, it is.
And these coaches, both Brian Kelly and Nick will know, and I know both of them, so it's pretty nice to see him in that setting.
Yeah, you probably heard two of our finest flying overhead. We are a very proud military town here in Northeast Florida. I think those are F-16s going by. It's always fun to watch all the jets and the helicopters fly over my backyard. They do it daily.
Yeah, that's
nice. It's absolutely incredible. Bob Goin here with me on the McManus Webcast, brought to you by all my great sponsors right there on the website. Go to suckitupusa.com/sponsors. They're there for you. One click takes you right into their business, and I represent some of the finest businesses right here on the First Coast, and we thank them for that. All right, Bob, how do you like the bowl, lineup? Northern Illinois gets in as an at-large, leaving Oklahoma out in the Orange Bowl, I believe. The ACC not as strong as the other conferences. The Gator Bowl, Northwestern and Mississippi State. I don't know how many people are going to travel for that. What's your whole feeling aside from the national championship game? What's your feeling on the bowl matchups?
Well, I think we've got ourselves in a heck of a mess. Back again when I was the director of athletics at Florida State, I can only recall the bowls were in control. You had to entertain the bowls. You had to show them. You had a football team that merited it. When they came to see a game, whether it be the Orange Bowl, the Fiesta Bowl, the Sugar Bowl, that was a big deal because you want to put your best foot forward and pick us. We recruited those bowls. Our team merits it. Our fans merit it. But now they've got this thing structured with the commissioners, 4 or 5 commissioners, have said you're going to take this game, you're going to take that game. This is number 3 team in our conference. You get the 3rd pick.
Right.
You're taking them whether you like it or not. It's not the free enterprise system that we're confronted. And I think you'd have a lot better bowls if they do. I'm happy for Northern Illinois. That's fine with them. I'll tell you who I'm not happy for is the Orange Bowl committee because they've got to pay one of those schools $17 million, and that's not going to. It's going to be hard to generate that kind of revenue in that kind of a game because Florida State's not going to. Even their own fans, I think they're going to find a difficult time traveling to Miami to see play Northern Illinois.
No, right.
So I think there's some issues, but it's all going to be resolved.
Yeah.
When the playoff comes in 2014, I wish they would have said we could start this thing earlier. I wish that would have been pushed a little harder.
Right.
But then I think it's going to end up going to 8 minimum.
Yeah.
8.
Do you think they'll start with 8, or they're going to still start with 4?
I don't know if they'll. I don't know if they'll tweak it. I think they'll go with 4 and see how that works. And if that works the way they think it's going to work, and it will, then they're going to have a reason to go to 8.
Yeah.
But bowls are nice. But they ought to be community driven. That community ought to pick the teams that come to their bowl because they know that community will support that. Instead of being handed to them, it just doesn't work.
No, listen, no disrespect to Northern Illinois and what they've done, but I'm not even interested to watch that game at all.
And I'm afraid that's what that's what the televisions know, and that's what the poor Orange Bowl committee knows. Not selling tickets now. I understand some big alumnus has given all the students half-price ticket to go down. They want Northern Illinois to go down there.
Probably get them a yacht ride or 2.
They better get them. They better get them a train too. They better do it because they need to get down there. But and I'm sure Northern Illinois will do a good job. First time ever. To be in that kind of a situation. So that whole community probably will support it. But overall, bowls are a great experience for the participants. Not so much for the people who have to write the checks.
Right.
If it's not a good matchup.
If it's
not a good matchup.
Yeah, and there's some good matchups now. There's absolutely. And before we get in, I think Wisconsin-Stanford will be a great matchup. But man, Wisconsin really put it to them in the Big Ten championship. My gosh. 70 points?
I dropped Nebraska.
Yeah.
Almost out.
Did you?
Yeah. Because I tell you go to a championship game on a neutral field and give 70 points up.
Yeah.
I don't know where your focus is, or whether you have your heart in it or not. That's hard to. And to a team that lost 5 games.
Yeah. So. And and then you look at Georgia. I mean, they should be playing somebody better than Nebraska, right?
Yeah.
I mean, in my opinion.
That's the system.
Yeah.
And
no, I know.
I'm complaining about. They should be playing. You don't lose a game like that,
right?
And
that
not
close.
Play a BCS game.
Agreed.
But that's the rule. Yeah. Only 2 people can go. Only 2
right.
schools can go from a league, and that's another silly thing about it. There's flaws. They should have been tweaked. You take the best teams. If there's 3 great teams from the Big Ten, take them.
Right.
Let them get out there and let them be exposed. Just
right.
Why should number 2 or 3 be left out? Because you got to take one from another conference.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
I agree.
But it's all going to change with the playoff. And
it is.
I'm happy about it.
Yeah, me too.
We'll gripe about that when that comes around. There'll be some flaws because there's going to be human people that determine who the 4 teams are.
Yeah.
There's always going to be an argument.
Yeah.
I think go to 8, it'll be who's number 9. Why number 9 being left out?
Right.
So there are, but I do like it being settled on the field.
Agreed.
And then we'll see what happens to those other bowls. It's going to be challenging.
Even Florida Louisville's kind of, Charlie Strong, great. He's done a great job there, but that doesn't bring a lot of allure. And the way they finish, they finished great.
Yeah.
I think they really showed in that game against Florida State that they were for real. We questioned it for a little bit because they went on a little bit of a skid, not losing-wise, but the way they were playing, how they were playing. But, man, they really went into Tallahassee and came to play and put a nice victory together.
That's what happened on that one, though, Tom, is when Northern Illinois qualified and had to go to a bowl.
Yeah.
The Sugar Bowl, if they didn't take Louisville, then they were going to get Northern Illinois.
Okay.
So they had their choice was before the Orange Bowl, so they took Louisville, which is better than Northern Illinois.
Yes, definitely.
But had Northern Illinois not qualified, Louisville had been going to the Orange Bowl to play Florida State, and Oklahoma would have been in the Sugar Bowl playing Florida.
Yeah.
So that's how that panned out. But it still left Georgia.
Yeah, it did.
Down in the Capital One Bowl, which is a nice bowl.
Yeah.
But not for a team that I think is. I only dropped to 4.
Yeah.
After the thing was over.
I don't understand, and I agree with you. Why you shouldn't drop them hardly at all, really, which you didn't.
Yeah.
I felt that way about Oregon losing to Stanford. Look,
they've taken a bigger tumble. I just moved them up. I moved them up. Notre Dame 1 and Alabama 2, and I think that Oregon was 3, and I put Georgia 4.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
then Florida 5.
You could, and you could argue about it, but Georgia did beat Florida.
Yeah.
On the field too.
Yeah, in a neutral
It's really
site.
hard. It's really difficult. It's it's going to be resolved.
It's going to be a great thing without a doubt, and that's a good thing for the fans out there. Something to look forward to, because every year we've had this conversation. We now this year, to me, it worked. It did work itself out based on the system. Now, I don't agree with one team playing a conference championship, one team not, because you put a lot of risk out there. Look at Alabama; they could have lost that game.
Yeah.
And if they didn't have to play that game, they would have been in the championship game regardless. So that's got to be worked out, and hopefully they can get to that. Bob Goin here with me, former athletic director with Florida State and Cincinnati, current Harris Poll contributor, joining me here on the Tom McManus Webcast. All right, I love the Heisman time. It's fun. What a great honor for these young men, some younger than others. Johnny Manziel, Johnny Football, as they like to call him, a finalist for the Heisman. Teo, of course, the great middle backer for Notre Dame, who's in the national championship game. Klein, the very, very good quarterback for Kansas State.
Absolutely.
Is there a clear-cut leader in this race yet?
I don't think there's a clear-cut, but I think it's a 2-man race.
Yeah.
I think it's Notre Dame's linebacker and the freshman.
And Johnny Manziel.
I do think that it's going to be one of those two, and I think it's going to end up being Johnny Manziel.
Yeah.
That's my
first freshman ever to win it, right? He's a redshirt freshman,
He's
though,
a
right?
redshirt freshman, but if you forget that and go by if he's eligible to play, then you measure how well he played, and you have to admit he's had one phenomenal year.
He has, and I think what really helps him is he's done it against the perceived and real best conference in all of football. He did it against Alabama, and not only did they win, but performed tremendously.
In their backyard.
Yeah, performed well against Florida.
Yeah.
Early on in the year. So he definitely deserves it. I never, with the Heisman, I never got into age, winning it twice. I thought Tebow should have won it twice. That second year, he had a better year than the year before, in my opinion. They didn't want to give it to him based on, Archie Griffin's the only one who's ever done it, so can't give it to him.
I was blessed to be part of it. When I was at Florida State, when Charlie Ward won the Heisman, I accompanied him as athletic director. I took him to New York and went through the ceremonies. I don't know why Bobby didn't get told, but I went and represented us and represented Charlie, and so proud. It is a wonderful ceremony, and everything that builds up to it. How they use the Heisman people go around into the communities and the hospitals while they're there. It's just a super time.
Yeah.
Obviously it's a great award. So very happy about that.
That must have been exciting taking Charlie. He was so great.
Charlie and I remain very close. It's Junior. I call him Junior. And he calls me Commissioner.
Commish.
So when I get when the phone rings and I answer it, and he says, Commish.
You know who it is.
Who's calling? Yeah,
that's great.
Terrific.
Yeah.
Nice little high school coach at a private school.
Yeah, right.
Houston.
Yeah. Good for him.
Made a lot of money playing pro basketball.
Yes, he did. Good for him. Made the right choice.
He's a good man.
Yeah.
So, good family man.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Bob Goin every Tuesday here on the webcast. A lot of great stuff in college ball. A lot to look forward to. A lot to look forward to.
A lot of coaches we got to hire here in the next.
Yeah.
There's going to be some interesting hires, I think.
What do you think BC's going to do, Boston? You notice I wore my alma mater shirt today in honor of the college football talk.
I really don't know. I talked to Brad Bates recently.
You did?
Yeah, I did. I talked to him, and he's a good one. He's going to do well.
Yeah.
I don't know who he'll pick. There's a lot of nice jobs open.
Right.
I don't know how many. It's hard to find a head coach.
It is. It is.
I tell you, it's you can say all you want. Well, this is a great offensive coordinator, great defensive coordinator. That's a step. There's a run and a ladder that gets. You got to get pretty high to assume all that.
Yeah.
It's one thing being a coordinator, it's another thing being a head coach.
And as a coordinator, you're not really managing personalities. I mean, you are to a certain degree, but you're really X's and O's. Your game plan, you're looking for execution. You're the leader of that defense or offense, but they don't always make great head coaches because that takes a special kind of person, a motivator. Like I said, a manager of different personalities, how to light a fire into this guy, maybe different than this guy. I may have to coddle this kid a little bit more. Maybe he comes from a tougher background, whatever. You have to figure those things out in order to lead those young men and holding them accountable off the field as well. So I think that, to me, coordinators are your wizards. X's and O's. They can break it down. I don't even care if they've ever played the game. That doesn't matter. I'd like my position coaches to have played the game just because they know how to play that position and have done it fairly well, obviously. But it'll be an exciting time for all these schools that are looking for a new coach. Let me ask you this, because this name got thrown out there, and I know my reaction, and this goes for any school. What would you say to a school that's looking at Butch Davis?
Well,
I wouldn't touch him. He's a great coach. I get that, but you know what? He's got too much baggage. I'd be worried about my program. I'd be worried about the shady, slippery, little sneaky kind of way that he does business. I would shy away from a guy like Butch Davis, just in my opinion.
I think I don't know Butch Davis. I know him a little bit. I've met him. Don't know him. I would think that. That would challenge the integrity of the university, which is a bigger picture than winning a football game.
Right.
And there's too many. I'd take my chances on a younger, upcoming, clean-slated guy that hasn't made those kind of mistakes or been involved in that kind of mud.
Right.
And that's not me. He doesn't deserve to make a living. He had that chance.
Yeah.
But personally, I think that it would bring too much of a cloud on what the real values of the institution.
Yeah. I have one question for him. How did you let 300 parking tickets go by without any ramification? 300, Coach.
Yeah.
You're obviously not keeping an eye on what your players are doing.
No, it's
So that would be a problem.
There's just a lot of things. There's a lot of questions you could ask him.
Yeah,
and
he's not the only one. Don't mean to just throw him out there,
yeah,
but
no,
there's plenty.
But when you make that mistake, there's some things that you make a mistake in recruiting. You do this, and
Yeah.
a lot of it. Everything. We're a very forgiving country.
Sure.
And but I do think when you had 1, 2, 3 opportunities, then maybe it's time to move on. But that's my personal opinion.
Sure.
And if anybody hires Butch, I'm sure they got a good idea what they want to do. But I think I would not do it.
All right, final thing on this Tuesday webcast here at SuckItUpUSA.com with Bob Goin in today's market of college coaching. 2 years or 3 years?
I cannot see how you can expect a coach. There's no magic wand in this town.
I know.
You know, I don't see how you can expect a football. If you're hiring a new football coach, your program must be in bad shape to start with.
Exactly.
You know, now, another thing is, if you take over a program, if Jimbo leaves and somebody steps in, and in 2 years you haven't won the ACC championship or played in the ACC, then you may not be going in the right direction.
Right.
But when you take over a program because you've asked a coach to leave, I don't see how you can do it in 2 years and build the program that you want to build. You know, and I think that's a mistake. And unless there's something inside that you're getting vibes from the players, and the staff, that this is a very difficult person to work with, but not on the field deal. That's just not enough time. I don't know anybody would uproot their family and take a job thinking I've only got 2 years. That's just not.
By the end of year 3, you better show some good improvement, headed in the right direction, or I make a move. But it's hard to do that prior to that, in my opinion.
Well, you could start by rallying people day one, Tom.
Yeah.
You would.
Oh,
you
yeah,
would. If you took over, you would
right.
get people saying, look, this is an exciting guy. We're going in this direction. But if that's not there, then that may be the reason for the change, but not because he hasn't done it on the field.
Exactly.
If you don't have the fans and the players buying into the system, then after year 2, they're not going to do it after year 3 either.
Right.
That needs to come day one.
Right.
And you start from there, and it's easy to see.
I agree. It's easy to start that way than to not and try to do it later.
That's
Tough love, to me, is the best way to go, whether you're coaching a team, running a business, or raising a family. Part of the Suck It Up message and the No Excuses tour. Bob Goin every Tuesday. Always fun.
It is, Tom. Thank you for having me.
You keep your eye on that Harris poll, okay?
Well, I'm done with it.
Are you done? Is it over?
Yeah, it's over.
It's over.
We've done our job.
We've made it.
We've done our job.
Way to go, Bob.
We've put 1 and 2 together, and we've done our filing rankings.
Good.
I'm done. I've been relieved of my responsibilities. Whether I get a reappointment or not, I don't know, but I probably will.
I think you will.
Because they can't get other people to do it.
Right.
So, but
I think you will. Your name stands on its own.
Yeah, it does.
There you go.
It's stamped on there.
All right, Bob Goin right here on the McManus Webcast, talking college football with the former athletic director and Harris Poll contributor. Always an honor to have him on. Hug the ones you love. Tell them you love them, because you never know what tomorrow is going to bring. And we'll see you next time right here on the McManus Webcast at SuckItUpUSA.com. Have a good one, everyone.